You know, if there's anything we try to bring you consistently here on Only Weird Games, yeah, it's some Chiefs analysis, but really, it's about the energy that we can bring. 3 friends and 3 good mental headspaces having a good time. Like, Nate, you're in sunny Las Vegas. How's Vegas treating you?
Fantastic. I haven't lost all my money, and look, the palm trees are breezing, man. It's really nice. It's a comfortable mid-50s today. So I'm
Light
great.
hoodie weather, and you can see palm trees. That's beautiful. You know what I did, Nate? I just a few minutes ago, I got back from swimming with manatees. I just had a little shower, washed that manatee water out of my hair. Lots of stories about those little guys, and by those little guys, I mean those big guys. But I really had a very fun day. Seth, how are you?
It's 11 degrees outside. The sun's already down. I put on weight, and there's no justice in this godforsaken world.
Only Weird Games, baby.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Hey, if nothing else, at least the Chiefs are back on. Seth, no. Seth, put the letter opener down. At least the Chiefs won. It could have been worse. And for a little bit, it looked like it was going to get worse. I didn't expect, for all the things we talked about, that game potentially having. I also, by the way, will mention I missed the first drive of this game in real time because I was trying to help Chloe and then by extension Renee get a hook out of the beak of an ibis. There was bird poop and bird blood. Ultimately, good news is that the bird was doing well. It ended up with a little bird rescue. But that's the kind of week I've been having. I don't think I want to dig any deeper on the week Seth has been having. So, Nate, I'll let you sort of crack this game open for us because the Chiefs won. I've got what might be a slightly simmering take about how to feel about some of these things. But really, I did have a different viewing experience. I'm here in Florida. I watched the game with my very loud, very much yelling at the TV family. And so I really did experience this game differently. What was it like there in Vegas? How's the vibe around the Chiefs now? Last time the locker room was not fun, it sounded like.
Yeah, this was more back to normal. The schedule has given them blessings at times. It's also given them quite a bit of tribulations. This was a game, and I wrote this in The Athletic, like, they look uninspired, not enthused. Maybe they're a little bit lackadaisical, which was the word choice I used. And then I guess to get this team out of a funk, they had to fall behind 14 points to the Raiders. I mean, I guess.
Should have been 21. It should have been 13, or 17, but it probably should have been 21.
That really was the strangest part. Antonio Pierce, give him credit. This guy's ready to play. He seemed to know quite a bit of the Steve Spagnuolo blitz tendencies to help and aid Aiden O'Connell. You you don't have to go for it. I know it's early. I know it's still the first quarter. I know the Chiefs haven't really scored 30 in a while. And then I just started looking at other things. What he missed? He missed? Like, that was the reaction in the stadium with like, Carlson missed? And so maybe that was the first omen in terms of the momentum shifting. But the locker room was pretty not too high, I wouldn't say, but the locker room was very usual in terms of, hey, this is what the team expected to do. They took an unusual route, but in some ways it is a usual route because Patrick Mahomes still has the best record of any quarterback in NFL history when down, double digits. It's becoming a trend now that the Raiders are going to take up a nice section in that graphic that they're going to continue to show on television. A game that started surprising for both teams, but ultimately ended the way most people thought it was going to go. But there are positives. I think there are more positives about this game than negatives beyond just them winning. But I know we're going to get into it more, but it's just how they went about fixing their problems and executing it at such a quick manner. I do think is noteworthy against an opponent that they are better than, and then they sort of proved it after.
Are they though? Do they have as many dogs?
Who said that? I saw the quote. I already forgot who said it. Do you remember who it was?
I don't know his name. I would be
I'm
honest.
sorry. I should check that. Here, let me on a similar note.
Wow.
Meek Robertson.
Just
Thank
Thanos
you, Tucker.
the guy.
I don't know his name.
I have a mild take. I've got a real extra spicy one for later, but I have a mild take since you mentioned Antonio Pierce. I'll just sneak in right here. Do you guys see the post-game handshake and like because the broadcast, you have like a pretty tight camera on Andy Reid walking out to Antonio Pierce to meet after the game. I think Antonio Pierce is the first Raiders head coach who Andy Reid respects at all in a long time. And that's a little bit unfair to John Gruden, but I think he respects John Gruden, the football mind, and their relationship and all of that. But he was at least annoyed with John Gruden. We have seen some of the trick plays come out against the Raiders over the years, and I do not think that man cares for Josh McDaniels by the way they have treated that team when they've had the opportunity to. And Antonio Pierce has the Spags connection, and Andy Reid looked genuinely very happy for Antonio Pierce. Like he really was like, "Hey man, you're doing good work over there. Good effort. Good to see you." And I just haven't seen that warmth from a post-game handshake with Andy Reid and almost any other coach in a very long time.
I still keep the Jack Del Rio, the unbelievably condescending pat. It's like, nice try. And JDR knew it too. Because the look that he gave Reid afterwards was like, I mean, if looks could kill. So no, I missed that. Actually, I didn't see that.
Run the Washington defense. It was honestly, it was like a warm moment between Andy Reid and Antonio Pierce that I just thought was kind of nice. And again, the Spags connection being a huge part of that, I'm sure. But it just made me think of other recent Raiders coaches who have not gotten that kind of handshake or that kind of post-game treatment. Seth, you've already written about Rashid Rice, so we'll get into the nitty-gritty there a little bit, but still kind of glossing over the top. How did you feel at 14-0? And then I guess the miss, maybe that being a turning point, obviously. But what was your view of a Chiefs Raiders game that wasn't exactly comfy?
I'm trying to, because I want to make sure that I don't, lie about how I was feeling. And so, fortunately, I can look back through my
Go to twitter.com/real MN Chiefs fan.
Thingamabobber guy.
Twitter.com still works.
The first thing I tweeted about this game was, been pretty rare for the Chiefs secondary to have that sort of confusion this year. Which sums up pretty well how that game was starting. It's like, what? And then the next one was, the Rook is getting the ball out well versus the Blitz. Spags is going to need to Chang. That's what I typed, and then I replied to myself. I was in a good mood that day too. I'm kind of stacking these good moods one on top of the other. By the way, whoever commented, and I'm sorry I missed it where they said, Seth seems like he's in a pretty bad mood for a guy with a smoking hot life. Thank you. That helped me out. I was like, you know what? Life is still pretty sweet. I replied to myself. I said, good tweet, Seth. I said I was going to finish with change things up if he's able to sustain that.
Yep.
And then my very next tweet was about the Raiders should have gone for that regardless. I complained about the field. I complained about, if I had $1 for every time a Chiefs pass catcher ended a failed play looking around for the rest to bail him out this season, I'd have enough money for a decent meal at a nice restaurant with my whole family. Which, by the way, a decent meal at a nice restaurant with my whole family.
Your whole family.
Yeah, my whole family. A decent restaurant where everyone's eating what they want, which means, I mean, we got teenage boys and me. We get apps, son. We're going to get some apps. You know, people going to have some sodas. And so we're talking 100 plus. What decent restaurant? $150.
Yeah. With your family?
Well, we don't go out to eat. Like, except at
understandably.
shout out. Anyway, so... Yeah, no. So that was my mood. Is I was just saying, and then I stopped tweeting, and I
That's
just
the worst
started retweeting negative things other people were tweeting, like Field Yates. The Chiefs' last 8 offensive drives have totaled 150 yards. Carrington Harrison, shout out C. Dot. We are approaching team meeting territory, and then everything just fell into place, and I started tweeting nice things. So my headspace wasn't great, Josh. I was trying to not get buried. I had forgotten. And I don't remember why, but I wasn't all that online during the Chiefs-Eagles game. And of course I watched Chiefs-Dolphins like 8 hours after the game. Which, by the way, which I don't want to commit professional seppuku. But man, if you haven't in a while, watch a game without having Twitter open. It's a markedly more positive experience. Now, I mean, we're all addicted, so we're not going to stop. Like, it's just like, hey, try going a few weeks without having a smoke. It's like, I'd love to, but I can't. So, anyway, so I was trying not to tweet too many negative things because, I mean, you just add to the avalanche. And all I could keep thinking in my head was like, this is so odd. This can't keep up. Like, when the defense was playing terrible, too. And part of that was just O'Connell. I think he might be good. I think they might have stumbled into it. He's getting the ball out quickly.
Nate. On the Tom Brady scale of nobody plays quarterback anymore, Aiden O'Connell might be good. And you saw the quarterbacks playing in the early window on Sunday. There were 2, maybe 3 good quarterbacks. Aiden O'Connell.
Well, in the decades and decades since Tom Brady retired, the NFL's changed a lot. I mean, anyone who's
they've been changing the rules to protect quarterbacks. Why can't you hit a guy low anymore? Oh.
Yeah, it's almost like anyone that's won most of their Super Bowls in the last decade probably can't even talk, honestly. I mean, what would they know? Anyone who left one team because the roster had become depleted and then joined an already loaded roster that had managed to go to the playoffs with Jameis Winston, or at least knock on the door of the playoffs with a loaded offensive line, multiple Pro Bowl level receivers, and then brought an all-pro level tight end with him, along with a potential Hall of Fame caliber head coach and the number 1 defense in the NFL that was basically ready-made for any kind of contender. Anyone who did a thing like that would never say such a thing. So... yeah, you know what? I hope there's Tom Brady stands on this thing tonight. You know why he left New England? Because he wasn't good enough to carry a roster. And he knew it, because Tom Brady is smarter than me. He's smarter than you, and he knew that if he went to Tampa Bay, which was loaded, and would have won with any top 10 quarterback, especially facing Patrick Mahomes with no offensive line, but he knew he would win the Belichick versus him debate forever and ever because he couldn't carry that roster because he wasn't good enough.
Can I have just a brief few seconds to push back?
Man, I would leave this call if I didn't think it'd screw up the whole show. I really just looked to hit the stop camera button and just see what would happen.
Just a bit of a pushback. He is right, though. A lot of his criticisms, and he's been consistent about it, are troubling in terms of how the sport is played. Now, is he part of those reasons? Yes.
Disingenuine?
But
man, that's a handsome guy right there.
Handsome guy right there.
Mr.
Man.
Alex Smith is filling up my screen, and that dopamine is helping me.
Handsome guy in Josh Brisco's box here on the show today. Handsome fella.
all I want to say is that because of the Patriots defense, the league wanted to get a little bit more score happy. Now, the league, based on its rules, sort of overcorrected, which gives the offense a lot more freedom of movement and the benefit of the doubt. And even Rex Ryan's like, Nate, stop, based on the screenshot of Joshua Brisco for our non-viewing audience. But when Tom does say that, like, as a quarterback, you're supposed to know when and where to throw the ball, and you can't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt because you threw it into tight coverage, and the defensive player gets penalized because you put the receiver in the ball in a improper spot. Now
he's not wrong, and he's the greatest of all time. He is. He's earned it.
And look, defenders can patrol the middle of the field the way they used to, which I think to me is why the 90s kind of will forever be like one of the sweet spots in terms of football errors, because you still had a decent amount of quarterbacks who could throw the ball.
When Tom Brady won a Super Bowls, the 90s.
I knew he was going to say that.
Well,
I knew he was going to say that.
Well, he did. In his defense, he won the first Super Bowl in 2001. And I mean, he was like the 20th best quarterback in the NFL that year.
Yeah. And guys could throw the ball, but there was still a level of physicality that is not really been legislated out of the game. I don't even have
a problem with Tom Brady at all. I have a problem with Brady stands. So this is entirely unfair. I am not engaging in good faith right now, just to be clear.
Why would you? He wasn't either. To be also, while we're at it, I mean, we don't have to fully involve the sword.
Yeah. And
today's game, these youngsters, they don't know how to play ball anymore. That's why the last time I played, Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, and we won every game by 20. I don't know why I'm doing Jim Gaffigan's voice.
Yeah, I don't know why either. The beautiful part in all of this is you have Brady giving real criticisms while also realizing he is literally the biggest symptom of said criticisms.
Yes.
While
the
also
beneficiary of many of those things. You can simultaneously have the greatest career of all time, be the greatest winner of all time, and the luckiest of all time too. Because it's not like Brady's greatness created the tuck rule. It's not like Brady's greatness forced D Ford offside. Look, some of this is luck. And look, Patrick Mahomes, you know what you need to win a Super Bowl? You need some luck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta get a little lucky. You know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl? Ask the Buffalo Bills. That hot dog meme never fails. We're all trying to find the guy that did this.
Hey.
And so it's so hard to win a Super Bowl. And so when I talk about how much luck is involved and all that, I've dragged us far afield, and I apologize. I went on a rant.
It's my fault.
It requires luck for everyone, and that's why the Buffalo Bills have arguably been the best team in the league for like 3 years and have not even a Super Bowl appearance to show for it.
They have not been the best coached team in the NFL.
Ooh.
That's weird, Nate. Didn't they fire their defensive coordinator last year and their offensive coordinator this year?
Well, no, they told my man to take a break, and and then they told my other guy, "Hey, dude, stop yelling and screaming in the booth. All right, get out of here. Hey, Joe Brady, you'll fix everything, right? Right? Well, hey, you know what my coaching staff is known for? Developing young players not named Josh Allen. Right? Hey, I was supposed to handle big personalities, big egos, and Stefan's not gonna be here next year, guys. So I'm just gonna keep these things tight together, right? We're not gonna get cooked at home in a playoff game because we got outcoached by Zach Taylor and Lou Anarumo, right? I don't even have to mention 13 seconds because, I'm Sean McDermott. I'm a really good coach who has outcoached who. When?
Certainly. If I had 7 more seconds than 13 seconds, I would, and a timeout in my pocket, let my cannon-armed quarterback try to win a game in regulation instead of forcing overtime, right?
In a semi must-win situation, right? Semi must-win, not must-win because you're not in the playoffs, but in order to get there, you kind of got to win some of the semi must-win games.
I'm interested in the direction this is going. I know we're not talking about the Chiefs-Raiders game yet, and I apologize to everyone for that.
It's mostly the Raiders' fault.
Yeah.
And Aiden O'Connell being good, and then
Tom Brady.
Well, look. By the way,
he was playing well against their blitz looks. They were getting the ball out very quickly, and it was like, dude, they had the protections in place. I really doubt O'Connell was dialing up those protections.
Correct.
If he was,
then great.
That's unbelievable work for a rookie. Because when people were like, well, why is the secondary struggling? They were picking up the blitzes just long enough for him to have
Somebody
2
to-
seconds.
Somebody to
And
go
when you
over.
blitz,
Yeah.
yeah, which I think I might even tweeted about that Jacobs low key, the biggest, like he had the one big run, which was huge. But the biggest thing he did throughout, especially early in the game, was blitz pickup. The number of times he stopped Drew Tranquil and was like, no, hang on. Why don't you just not go near my quarterback? And gave him time to make a throw. That's a big deal.
Just real quick, the Chiefs play the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Shout out to the Packers for keeping that game from the non-flex category. I would take Jordan Love over Aiden O'Connell 10 out of 10 times. So for as much as I appreciate what Aiden O'Connell's done, they scored 3 points after all the scripted plays were poof.
Yeah. What kind of crappy offense couldn't score after the scripted plays?
Hey,
What other examples do we have of that in the AFC West in the last month?
I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson
certainly
might
not
be
an offense that's prominently featuring Rashid Rice.
my best
I'll take
thing
it.
is my best thing is the entire, not the entire, but a large group of my peers saying, I think he's cooking, guys. Now, it might not be a filet mignon, but he's cooking a good cheeseburger right now. Russell Wilson, they're back
Yeah.
because of turnovers, because we're going from second string quarterback to third string quarterback, because we're going from the best quarterback in the world to flu quarterback in the world. Like the most immaculate run of success. And give them credit because they've won these games. Their defense has been awesome. But I just love the idea that, like, oh my God, you know what Sean Payton has done? He might be coach of the year because they gave up 70 to the Miami Dolphins. And you know what he told his guys? Stop giving up 70. And Russell, stop turning the football over. And you know what? Coach of the year. It's an amazing an amazing time in the AFC West where
Can we circle back? Can we circle back to the Broncos at some point if we have time? Because I know we want to talk about the Raiders Chiefs game, but
Ideally.
also it's worth noting there was a great article in the Ringer. I think it's Solek who does this.
Ben Solak?
Yeah, who does great job. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Danny. Anyway, they've added 60 expected points in 5 games. The Broncos have 60, 12 points per game in turnover. That's not in turnovers forced.
Stop.
That's in winning the turnover battle.
I love this league. I love
12
this league.
12 points. Oh,
Can I give
Oh,
you
no.
some reporting that has just occurred? He is
What?
the Athletic. I love this league. Stop it. Stop. For our non-visual audience, I just went through a time warp of we cannot be doing this. But the Athletic has just reported via Joe Person, who covers the Carolina Panthers for us, been a long time phenomenal beat writer there, and Richard Dice, who is our TV network. You want to get the lowdown on what's going on in sports television? That's the guy. Ex-Carolina tight end Greg with the third leg Olsen, the color analyst for Fox #1 crew, would be interested in the Panthers vacancy if he were approached, according to sources. Don't approach this man. Don't. David Tepper, I know you got all that money. Stop it. Stop.
Well, and also, I'm just gonna go ahead and be selfish here. I really think Olsen does a terrific job with color commentary. Like
I need him to stay in the booth, Seth. That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Hey, you know what? You know what? If approached about the Carolina Panthers head coaching job, I would be interested. Just so we're all clear. Sign a fully guaranteed deal. He can fire me after a miserable year. I can move. I would be interested in that position.
I would say the most insane things during pressers. Just be like, why'd you choose him? The other guy looked at me funny in practice.
Actually, David Tepper, I am not interested if you approach me. I don't want to work for you, dog. You look like a maniac, and
yeah, he is.
Look. Now there's an assumption. I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to just say there's an assumption in some league circles. Also, one of my favorite new phrases now, in some league circles.
Some league circles.
Not all the circles, some circles. That Frank Wright, who we know is a good coach, told David Tepper, hey, dog, he really small. And have you seen our offensive line? And David Tepper is like, shut your mouth. We're trading up for this man, and we're getting rid of DJ Moore. Okay. Cool.
This deal's fully guaranteed. It's fully guaranteed, right? Fully guaranteed money. All right. Yeah. Sure.
All I'm saying is we cannot. We just, Greg, do us right, baby. You doing an amazing job in the booth. We actually have relatively youngish analysts who are doing really good jobs, and I appreciate Kirk Herbstreit, but he should just stay in college. I don't need Greg. To Seth's point, Greg Olsen's really good, but don't reach out. Don't reach out. Don't do this to me. Guys, do you know the absurdity of what I just read? Greg Olsen, if approached, would be interested in coaching the Carolina Panthers. Stop
I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, and I understand, I obviously have a deep level of respect for my colleagues or my former colleagues at my old stomping grounds there at the Athletics. So you got to report things, I guess. But I don't understand this. Like, I mean, like, do you guys need to report that, like, Seth would be interested if, the Athletic reached back out and offered him $300,000 a year to chart every Chiefs snap if approached. Like,
now you got to emphasize it. If approached.
Yeah.
If approached.
That's like, I mean, like, seriously, I don't understand. Like, Seth Keysor would be very interested in his wife if approached today. Like what? Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Bunch of things that aren't going to happen. Is that what you're saying?
Now look. As Seth's literary and consummation agent, I just want to say, look, I'm doing my job. I'm trying to put everything out there. And look, I hear some rumblings, and if you want to put that out there, baby, put it out there that Seth's interested. If Jazz is interested, okay.
Yeah.
If we're being approached on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, the interest level goes up a little bit, But like, what is Greg Olsen's agent doing? Like, what is he doing?
Here's the thing, Nate. Here's the crazy thing. And some league circles are talking about Chiefs Raiders, which I would love to start doing momentarily. but here's the crazy thing, Nate, is that who's waiting in the wings at Fox? Grumpy ass Tom Brady.
I just saw the ball.
So look, we have some. I don't know if you've seen the public comments, Nate, but we have some people asking.
I am reading them. Yes.
So please give one final defense of the nonsense that Tom Brady said and why you feel like this is something you have to defend.
Because it's true.
Let's take a break.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Yes! Let's talk about Chiefs Raiders. Let's talk about Rashid Rice. It wasn't you, Seth, because Nate's the one who made me mad today. This is the power I
do
hold.
the unbuckled chin straps?
He did.
Throw the headsets.
Oh, I feel so much less foolish.
Look, here's the thing. I gotta keep you guys guessing. And as someone just said, it's a flash by. Seth needed to pick me up today, so I'm glad I could provide that as well. Listen, here's what the Chiefs offense did. We touched on the defense some, and I don't think any of us are terribly worried about the start because the finish was good. When you look at the Chiefs offense in this game, it was Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice, and Isaiah Pacheco who knew that eventually that might keep the train on the tracks? What did you see looking at all of that, Seth? You've already written about it on the Chief of the North newsletter, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. Seth has a deal going on right now that if you subscribe, he will handwrite each article and deliver it to your house by hand at great personal expense. So you can check that out online at the newsletter. But what did you see? What did you learn, in fact, about how the Chiefs are looking at Rashid Rice?
It's the Black Friday Cyber Monday special.
Let's take a break. Oh, sorry.
So I'm really interested. I haven't gone back and charted every snap yet, because one thing I'm curious about is if they really did anything in there in terms of a lot of people are talking about what they did schematically. Someone utilized a word that I really liked in terms of funneling targets a little bit and being a little more selective in terms of who is the primary target. So, an NFL offense, everyone who's played Madden gets like a glimpse into 0.5% of it, right? Where like you've got your play design drawn up, and one of those arrows is red and the rest are yellow.
Yeah.
One's yellow and the rest are red. That's your primary read. But in real life, there would be like 18 different variants out of each one of those routes. And it all depends on what the coverage is, because this might be the primary read if they show cover 3. This might be the primary read if they could show cover 2. Blah, 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 blah. But you still have a primary read in mind when you make a play call. And the Chiefs' primary read this season has appeared to be question mark. Like, it just kind of like just depends. It's like
it's Travis Kelce. Oh shoot, he's been double teamed. Question.
Yeah. Or it's like I think we need to fire up some deep shots too. Yep, it's still Justin Watson. Like, and MVS. Hey, you know what? Laid a key block on Rashid Rice's touchdown, and so
also got benched in the first quarter.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Will the Chiefs?
Go ahead, Nate.
Forget me. Let Nate talk for a minute.
Seth can pause here. Yeah, this is.
Will the Chiefs say it publicly? Probably not. But the snap count gives you the impression he got to sit down for a little bit, and then they sort of sprinkled him in the second quarter. Now, also because of the way the game script was going too. The Chiefs only ran 7-8 plays in the first quarter because the Raiders were having long sustaining drives. So again, I'm not saying that the team will say that, but from a snap allocation funneling that Seth has talked about, he was not a part of the opening script at all. And just something that was very observant from the press box in Allegiant Stadium yesterday.
Wow.
I would have bet on a first drive touch for MVS. I think I said that on Friday. And
zero snaps.
In retrospect, we should have said he will either get 3 targets in the first quarter or we will not hear from him in the first 15. And either way, it'll be pretty telling to how the Chiefs are looking at that. So that is very interesting. Anyway, Seth, funneling includes funneling away from those guys.
Right. And what you saw was a concerted effort, at least what I saw, and concerted effort probably feels like an exaggeration. For one, it's hard to tell anything with the first 2 drives. And that's one of the problems with going 3 and out, right? Where the drive's over.
Yep.
So you don't know what they're building towards or what they're doing because Andy Reid tends to kind of layer things together. But what you saw was Travis Kelce, Rashid Rice, then Noah Gray or Sky Moore. Then maybe Justin Watson. And my assumption is you'd sprinkle Kadarius Toney in there somewhere if he were healthy. And it was just a much more narrowing of because people love to say 9 different players got targets in the first half. The reason that happens is very important. If it's happening because your quarterback is absolutely cooking, that's one thing. If it's happening because no one has any idea exactly who the go-to guy is, and it feels like it was almost like rotating guys out on the defensive line type thing where it's this drive we're going to see these guys, and that's why you'd see Rice where even if he was getting snaps, it's like he would go entire quarters without a target. We didn't see that this game. And I also saw them utilizing various route concepts that can, in theory, work against man and zone that feature some of Rashid Rice's strengths. The most obvious example are drag routes, where you cover the entire field. Now, the thing about a drag route, which it's like, a short crosser, right? The thing about those is if you operate them out of trips, which the Chiefs like to do, and that's where you saw multiple drag routes Rashid Rice ran were out of trips formation, where he'd usually be next to Kelce and Sky Moore, and they'd be next to left, right of the formation. The great thing about that is you have options there. Well, are they playing way off? Well, I'm just going to throw it straight to Rashid Rice, and he's going to gain 9 yards because he always gains a few more yards than most other guys would. Okay, you're playing this a little bit differently. You're playing one guy way off, 2 guys short. Well, Rashid Rice's guy is the guy in man coverage, so he can run away from him, and it takes him the covering defender too long to close in. That's how they converted on 3rd and 8. It works against a myriad of things, and if it's a guy that you trust to vary his route speed, if they do play like a pure zone look, and you trust him to hesitate in between the middle of the field defenders, which they do with Rice, those are things that work. A quick comeback. Now, did he drop it? He did. Someone described in the comment section on the Chief of the North newsletter that you can subscribe to on the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale for $6 a year forever right now. Anyway, some people why is Nate's fireworking in the background?
How did that happen? That was amazing.
What? Did you do that? What just
Okay, Nate's got extra features now. Man, this show's doing great. I'll tell you what, listen, I know not everybody who listens to a podcast wants to watch the entirety of a podcast, but today has been filled with visual gags.
Yep.
Yes.
And I haven't even brought out the manatee stuff.
Yep.
So, oh man, I'm gonna be so jealous in a little bit. So the thing with that comeback route, or maybe curl, whatever you want to call it, okay? I hate terminology, people. It bothers me. It genuinely does. It just makes the game unapproachable.
Hitch, baby. That's a hitch route.
Yeah, hitch route. Yeah, it's a hitch and nothing else. It depends on who you talk to. But you are right. It's a hitch.
No, where you curling after 7 yards, son? Are you curling to the left? Are you curling to the right? Okay. Formation, identify the defender.
Yep.
Is your quarterback right-handed, left-handed? All right, 7 yards curl. Give it to me straight, baby. Let's run it again.
So a route like that, where he utilizes the threat of getting a little bit deeper and utilizes physicality to get the defender to keep going. That little back slap he gave him, same thing he did on the back shoulder throw late in the game, by the way. Which, by the way, you want to talk about a big boy route? A fake double move into a back shoulder? That's a big boy route right there. It's like, oh, you're isolated? Okay, let's see what you can do. Flying colors. I love it. But routes like that, a hitch, a back shoulder throw, him running drags, these are things that he can do now. Things that take advantage of his current skill set as it currently exists. And that's where I think simplifying things to an extent can really benefit a young guy who is clearly the most talented of their receivers. And that's what I saw was a concerted effort to be like, okay, let's have a game plan that's centered around not just Kelce and not just the system, depending on the coverages we see, but where we actually dial up some stuff just for Rashid Rice. And to his credit, Rook came through. Again, dropping the pass. Again, a commenter, he called those Rashid Rice's, I'm going to get so much yak here, drops. Because that's what he does, right? You can see it. He's got good, strong hands. Every drop I've seen him have, for the most part, the vast majority, and he's had a lot, let's be honest. The vast majority of them are, it's right in his hands, and he's already turning. And there's a reason why he's so terrific getting yards after catch. So he's going to have to figure that out, like bounce it out. But that's what I saw from them, with a concerted effort to funnel things a little bit and a concerted effort to utilize Rice in the way he can be utilized now. He still has a ton of work to do as a separator against man coverage on a lot of different routes. But there are some he can separate, and there's some, like that back shoulder throw, where separation is different. It's not, you don't need 3 yards of separation if you are a physical man. And if you can go, if not everyone, not everyone can go up to the 11th floor. Not everyone can do it. And if you can threaten guys with enough things, that opens up everything else. So, a successful drag route, you know what that leads to? A successful whip route. A successful hitch leads to a successful double move. A successful back shoulder throw leads to a successful 9 route. All of these things, the more you can show you can do, the easier some of the other things become for you. And that's one thing I really like about what they did there with him, giving him a chance to show what he can do in an expanded role.
Josh,
Nate, where are you seeing offensively?
No. I was gonna say, Josh, what do we also learn through yesterday's game, and what it informs us about, the decisions that are being made that is, above the player's pay grade.
On the offensive side or on the defensive side? Because I have something that the Raiders defense did that I have some significant questions about.
Let's do the offensive coaching staff real quick, because it's a couple weeks ago that Matt Nagy said, "Look, this is who we're going to be." Yeah. We're
7 receiver rotation.
We're 6-2 at the time. Look, guys, this is who we're going to be. Everybody's going to get a touch. Everybody's going to get a look.
This is good.
As I said earlier, and based on different circumstances, based on the roster being slightly changed a year ago, having more veteran presence, obviously in years past, having Tyreek Hill sort of, dominate that sort of position. There's just even now with Washington, right? He not using Byron Pringle.
Right.
Byron Pringle's in uniform, but we not using him.
Mm-hmm.
He is expected to be ready if something happens. That is the Eric Bieniemy sort of approach to this, which is, all right, halfway through the season, stuff's getting real. These are my 4 guys. These are my 2 running backs. These are my 2 tight ends. And the quarterback, obviously. So, as I said before, Eric Bieniemy would have made harsher decisions, even though the talent is more spread out and not as easy to just see with our own eyes where you should rank guys, because the team wants to continue Rashid's growth at a relatively normal pace, but the circumstances have changed to where they're going to have to put him in even more, adverse situations, right? And that's kind of to Seth's point, that he's going to have to run more routes and be on the field more often than you would normally want a rookie receiver to be on the field in a complex Andy Reid offense. But with that said, will the offensive coaching staff, Matt Nagy, Connor Embry, Andy Reid, Tom Melvin, even though he coaches tight ends, will they, Todd Pinkston, who played receiver, coaches the running backs, will he have a little bit of sprinkling say? But will they admit that they got in rhythm because guys played a more traditional percentage of snaps?
And even if here's the thing that I would wonder as a question on your question, would they have done that by choice? Because what we haven't mentioned here today, McCole Hardman to IR happened on Saturday, and Kadarius Toney was ruled out with a hip issue. Matt Derrick, who we'll just reference every show now, I guess, happy to do it. But I think he had first that he had reported some sort of hip soreness during Friday's practice, but Andy didn't mention it on Friday, and so he ends up getting ruled out. We'll see where he ends up. Richie James comes back, though, and this is where I think it could be, in part, a choice. Richie James comes back. He was off IR last week, but a healthy scratch. He was active against the Raiders. He had 9 offensive snaps. No Jerick McKinnon. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out there a little bit more, but not much. It was a Isaiah Pacheco game by and large. And then it's 10 targets for Rashid Rice, 7 for Travis Kelce. Back to receivers, 3 for Sky Moore, 5 for Pacheco, 3 for Noah Gray, 3 for Justin Watson, 1 to MVS. The targets to wide receivers, it was 10 to Richie James, and then 7 to the rest of the receivers combined.
Yeah.
That's
so
Richie James. I meant Rashid Rice. If I said Richie James,
yeah.
I meant Rashid Rice. It would have been
Yeah.
wild if I said that Richie James didn't get a target and then got 10 targets, but you knew what I meant.
But this is
This show's vibe would also be different if Richie James had 10 targets and Rashid Rice had 0.
Yeah.
Depending on how it went.
Yeah.
That would be wild, huh?
It would be. Yeah.
Trying to keep 9 guys in rhythm instead of 5. I mean, it's just simple math, kids.
Yeah.
And once they got in rhythm, they played a more expected. They got to the expected execution that this team is worthy of reaching. Even against an average defense, with Maxx Crosby, I mean, get that guy some help, man. Hey, man, you ain't got to do this. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to fight through double teams just to get 1 sack, okay? Just to get 1 stop, because who else is on my team gonna get the stop, Nate? And I'm saying nobody. No, get Maxx Crosby some help, Lord. I saw him after the game doing the meet and greets with like friends and fans, and he looked wore out.
Yeah,
because he didn't practice all week. B, he playing through a knee injury, and C, he's tracing Patrick Mahomes all day. He just looked
right.
He looked emotionally spent while also being like, "Sure, man, I'll take some pictures with you. Thank you for coming. I'm trying. I'm trying."
Well, and obviously he was hurt, but Jawan Taylor had a day against him overall.
Yeah,
and I understand
the
Jawan
protection,
Taylor, the penalty stuff, and all that. The protection, by and large,
the protection was great yesterday.
That's when you can run drags and crossers, baby. You need 3 seconds. You need 3 seconds because you don't know if they're running across the whole field. They might not be open till they're over here, and you can't always wait that long. It's just a side note because I think Taylor gets a lot of attention for the things that go wrong, the various things. They're back to the false start thing, and then I proceeded to watch Eagles-Bills, and I was like, I think that dude's moving. Like,
yeah.
The whole thing's frustrating. So I want to call out Jawan Taylor when he does good things. He has not been worth the contract he was signed for, but he did have a good game overall, regardless of a really penalty.
Can I give you my semi-spicy take that again, this is in the context of watching the game, not fully without Twitter, but on a 2-minute Twitter tape delay because of watching the game here and watching it, again, in a living room with my family watching a game instead of watching it in a radio studio, dialed in to maximum levels.
Oh, God.
I would like to see the Chiefs offense look good against a team who knows what to do with Travis Kelce. Because the most shocking thing to me in this game was how often the Raiders were like, no, he's just a tight end. And the thing that has been so frustrating in the Chiefs, not frustrating in the Chiefs offense, but it has maybe frustrated the Chiefs offense, is like, all right, we are putting a disrespectful amount of attention on Travis Kelce. Beat us. Mm-hmm. And because Kelce was such a major part in the offense again, which is a great thing to see, it wasn't though the result of them just having options all over the place. I still haven't seen if Mahomes' next gen stats passing chart has come out. I would like to see it because I imagine it's a little gross. It wasn't a spread the wealth game, and it certainly wasn't a push the ball downfield game. Nope, yak yards still count. The horizontal game when it works is great. We've also seen the horizontal game not work. And I think everything we've said about Rashid Rice and about tightening the rotation, I think that's legit. And good protection, those are things that I feel like are actual tangible stuff to stand on in terms of building blocks for the offense. I am nowhere near hallelujah, the offense is fixed territory. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's just me wanting to be a little more stubborn because we overreact week to week, or if I'm actually seeing that correctly. Where do you guys, how does that at least medium spicy take it?
So Patrick Mahomes via next gen stats, as I'm looking at the chart right now, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 completions that were either behind the line of scrimmage or right on the line of scrimmage in yesterday's game against the Las Vegas Raiders. And his most deep completion was on the, I don't know, what do we want to call it? The pitch to the reverse, to the flea flicker?
the
the tight end.
flea flicker or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his deepest completion. His second deepest completion was Seth put it on Twitter. You should go look at it. Just the absolute dart over the linebacker's head. Unbelievable throw. And he did attempt a pass that his deepest attempt of air yards, again, via next gen stats, was around 25, 26 yards. It was an incompletion. So, if you play zone,
Mahomes Kelce magic, like those, that does not mean the offense is doing better.
And again, you just play traditional zone, and they doubled Kelce at a very small percentage comparable to the Eagles of the week before, and obviously the Miami Dolphins before the bye week. So that gave Patrick Mahomes probably his best chart of the year, actually targeting passes in the middle of the field and in the intermediate middle of the field this past game as well. So I guess you could say maybe I'd have to look at the chart. Maybe he had a game just as similar against the Chicago Bears, if I remember correctly. But the Bears were awful that game. The Raiders, again, are average. So, hey, against an average defense who chose not to make Travis Kelce a priority, or not a priority as much as most teams have done in the past, you can still find ways to move the football, even though there was only one, I would say, true explosive play.
And this isn't to say that the offensive points don't count or that the win doesn't count. That if the game plan allowed you to do that and the Raiders allowed you to do that, eat them up like that in a 1 game sample size. Absolutely fun game, fun way of beating the Raiders. But Seth, where does that leave you? Kind of when last week Monday it was help wanted, deep shots are broken, and in this game it was like, yeah, we'll take 1 deep shot on a trick play and 1 deep shot on Patrick Mahomes being an alien from another planet, throwing the football to the guy who has a neural link with him.
Sure. I don't know that it's not just necessarily about Kelce not getting consistently double teamed, although I think that's a big part of it. The Raiders weren't trying to squeeze Mahomes and the shallow passing game quite the same way that they've seen. And so that's something like, so let's say we brought everything back to Rashid Rice's drag routes, and so we'll do that again, right? Because that's a relatively shallow route, it's going to look very different if you've got 10 defenders within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, right? Because no matter where you slow down your route, you're probably going to be running into someone. It's just tougher overall. And so I do think that it doesn't answer the question necessarily of what they will do when a team is trying to squeeze them shallow again. Or squeeze everything in that area and force them to go over the top. And so that is something that they're gonna have to answer against a more talented defense, because teams know, hey, they'll send MVS deep, they'll send Justin Watson deep, not really gonna send their other guys deep consistently. Now, there were a couple plays where I would say, okay, it's a potential answer for that. Because if you squeeze that shallow stuff, that kind of takes away those quick wide receiver screens to an extent. If you're as good as Rice is,
if you can tackle, right.
If you can tackle. Now the risk, of course, of that is you only got one safety on the top, and Rice makes one dude miss. Like suddenly, now you're 30 yards down the field. I do think, because a lot of what teams have done has either been with man or some version of match zone, which is very different than like placement zone. I'm trying not to use actual terminology. So you're not picking guys up when they come into your zone and then playing man coverage on them. That's pattern match essentially, as opposed to pure man. Both of those are much more closely related to pure man coverage. Okay, especially man coverage. So I'm here for this. My name's Seth when it's Seth. So teams have utilized that pretty effectively against the Chiefs, in part because Rice is one of their more dangerous players. He doesn't separate really well from man coverage. that back shoulder throw, just one, it's one throw, it's one target, one play. Those are the types of plays that to me are or that hitch route, right? Little things like that. If he can win on those, that forces teams to do things just a little bit different because you can't quite squeeze them the same way. If you've got a receiver that, you're leaving him one-on-one on the outside because you're focused on squeezing things in the middle of the field, right? Because that's where Mahomes will feast. That's where so many of these, mesh concepts and stuff that are designed to take advantage of the match and the man looks that they're getting. If you squeeze the safeties down, that can take advantage of those concepts. But if you've got one receiver, that's, you got to leave someone one-on-one. You can't account for everything, right? That's modern NFL defense. So you've got either hole shots or a guy being able to win some contested stuff. And that's where you come up with Juju Smith-Schuster. In addition to MVS having value last year with the deep ball stuff, Juju Smith-Schuster being able to win some of those back shoulder throws. You can only get hit with those a couple times as a defense where you're like, okay, they keep gaining 15 yards with this, and it's ruining our quarterback's morale. So now we got to back off a little bit. Now suddenly there's room for slants again, or mesh, or whatever, right? So that would be my sunny side up answer for you, in that they did show a few things that could in theory be an answer to that, but they need to show it on a game where Travis Kelce is getting suffocated.
Yeah. Anything else from the offense before we kind of circle back around to the defense a little bit from either of you? We haven't talked about Pacheco a ton. Got a lot of touches. He's like one of the 10 most fun players in the NFL to watch, I think, just from a pure enjoyment and weirdness standpoint.
The one other thing I would say, I think I saw, and I didn't chart it, so I might just be anecdotal. It's what I was looking for. I saw a little more from under center and play action type stuff, which is another way to deal with them squeezing those shallow routes, because the more guys you have in the box, the harder it is to not bite a little bit on misdirection, right? It's just natural. If you're 15 yards back, you take a step, it doesn't hurt you as much. If you're close to the line of scrimmage, that angle can really hurt you. So some of the things that you can do also, it sounds weird, but under center, running the ball, a little play action, misdirection type stuff that way, that can punish teams. That can punish teams for squeezing as well, which seems counterintuitive. It's like, well, they're loading the box, but that's not exactly what teams are doing. So that's another thing that I saw them doing that I kind of like, that and getting Noah Gray a little more involved.
Yeah, one of my favorite plays is semi-heavy or heavy looks, play action, transition to a screen. It's just gorgeous. And you should look at Creed Humphrey, what he did to that poor man on one of the screens in the game. Awesome. No, this is just another reminder as they get, as we are now in the sprint to try, for the Chiefs to try to get the 1 seed. It's time for all the contenders to lean on their best players. And with Andy Reid acknowledging today that Jerick McKinnon's, groin injury, and I knew this, it's been bothering him for about a month. And so the way he looked, there's a game in particular where I would just tell people, like, if you have the ability to go back and watch a couple snaps, by all means do it. Let me look at the schedule here. There's a game against the Chargers where Jerick McKinnon looks like Jerick McKinnon. He has not looked like that since. So now it's time to lean on Isaiah Pacheco more, just because of the situation and the fact that you are trying to get the 1 seed so that you can give him that rest if you are rewarded for your effort on the back end. So he needs about 15 to 20 touches a game. And the best thing for Andy Reid is him and Matt Nagy have realized that keeping it simple works. Because if you hand the ball off on 3rd and 1, guess what? You get first down fireworks.
Unbelievable.
Let's talk about the defense. They had some fireworks. I don't have any fun camera effects. L'Jarius Sneed and Devontae Adams early, not great. L'Jarius Sneed, Devontae Adams later, great. Chiefs defense, first 3 Raiders drives, not great. Rest of the game, great. Nate, what happened?
L'Jarius Sneed really picked up some of the inter-route tendencies that Devontae Adams had, and also they actually started getting decent pressure with 4, which helped out when Spags didn't blitz. It's always interesting when you're this late in the season, and Steve Spagnuolo's is like, nah, man, I've been cooking people on the blitz. I've been cooking them. Man, we kind of getting cooked on the blitz. Maybe I should just chill for a bit, And he chilled for like a quarter and a half, and he was like, wait till we get to third down, baby, because I want to light them back up. And that's exactly what happened. Like, it's like, hey, Nakano, we're gonna give you the entire field, son. Go right ahead. Little matriculation, a little dunk, little dink and dunk. Get your 2001 Tom Brady on, baby. But guess what's gonna happen when it's third and whatever in the red zone? We're gonna light you on fire. And the way Aiden O'Connell threw that ball, like he was Geno Smith in front of Aaron Donald, was kind of incredible. At that point, it's like, well, they're kicking a field goal and the game's over because Aiden O'Connell is shook because he now knows he's going to give us even more unscouted looks on third downs later in the game, which is, again, a benefit to impressive coaching. I know that there are people who say this less now than before, than say like 2 years ago, Seth. If you want to find somebody who says Chris Jones does not participate in the run game, this is the tape to respond to, because holy smokes, he was better on running downs than he was on passing downs. And that is rare, but that is him committing himself to the scheme and understanding, I don't need to get a sack today. I just need to stop Josh Jacobs from killing us. And so he took it upon himself after halftime and said, I'm stopping this man. And coach, can we not continue to run Matt Dickerson out on first down? They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball if Matt Dickerson's on the field, coach. You got me?
Farrell okay?
I don't know, man. Have
you seen him? Does he have a locker?
He does have a locker. I've seen it.
Okay.
But what you did notice was they put Matt Dickerson, again, also good coaching. They put Matt Dickerson on some second down plays, and I was like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. But those are my takeaways, is that Chris Jones committed to the scheme differently than what he's asked to do most games. And L'Jarius Sneed said, okay, you want to run this route? Cool. When you run the next deep route, I'm not getting beat. And he didn't get beat. And then from the press box, it's as Seth said earlier, you could just name them, Seth. The people who will be taking you out to dinner are Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Justin Watson. Those are the guys that whenever a ball is incomplete goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You see that? Back judge. Where's my back judge? Where's my back judge?
Guys, it's 2023. You're not allowed to touch me.
What?
It's like, look, you're technically correct, but,
we can't call a flag on every play. Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you're not. It's like one of the most vicious insults that I've ever heard. And unfortunately came from a player that I don't really like that much. Draymond Green to Paul Pierce. When he was doing the farewell tour, and Draymond Green said some version to him, what I'd read was, they don't love you like that. What, you thought you was Kobe? That, to me, is one of the most brutal. And here, Paul Pierce is a really, 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 really good player. He's such a good player. He's a Hall of Fame caliber player.
Yes, a Hall of Fame
player.
But
to be, not every Hall of Fame player gets a farewell tour. And it's such a great insult. And that, to me, like when I see Watson or MVS looking around for a flag, it's like, what you thought you was Jamar Chase? You thought you were Justin Jefferson? You thought you were Stephon Diggs? Like, you think you're getting that flag? You think the ref is going to look at you
right,
and say, well, he wasn't in the right position. Something must be afoot here.
Yeah. What am I? Now that Seth has opened up the NBA portal, let me dive in real quick. One of my favorite things is he's Kobe Bryant, you're Roger Bell. You tell me who the foul's on.
Yeah,
like that's hey, whoa. You're Julius Randle. He's LeBron James.
Yeah,
who the call going?
This is the way it works. Refs are human, and I don't want to take all the humanity out of sport. It is
Right.
kind of, you've earned it. Is Patrick Mahomes more likely to get a call than your quarterback? Yes. Yes, he is. Because when something bad happens,
Unless
officials
your
are going to be
quarterback
like, well,
is
that's
Josh
weird.
Allen.
Yeah. Well, no, Josh Allen could be actually killed on the field,
Dead.
apparently. Although, to be fair, I know now they've got like minute-long things of Josh Allen flopping. It's like, guys,
Yeah.
come on. It was a horse collar. Oh,
No, that
Yes.
one was a penalty.
Yes.
yeah,
yes.
that one was a penalty. Although, you know what? To be fair, I heard today that the Eagles are the most resilient team in recent memory. So,
Oh, good for them.
yeah, no, Good Morning Football. I actually like everyone that's on Good Morning Football. I enjoy them. But man, the need to have takes every single day must be horrifying because, the most resilient team I can remember in recent memory. And I wanted to be like, I remember a team that came back down double digits in every single playoff game to win the flipping Super Bowl. And you're telling me because they won a regular season game? Oh, they're so resilient, guys.
They got that Tom Brady memory.
Oh, so good.
I love when a joke comes all the way back around. That is one of my very favorite things in the world that just loops back around. This is why my daughter loves you more than me.
Yes.
It's
Miss Brisco. Was I
Back in the
thrilled?
comments.
Yes, was I thrilled, Miss Brisco, that the Raiders decided to serve the reporters another dish of Thanksgiving? No.
Did they really?
No, I wasn't.
That's so good.
No, I wasn't. I was like, we cannot do this turkey again. I cannot. But you know what they did have?
stuffing.
Well, I think it was bacon rolled or turkey rolled hot dogs. I don't know. It was wild. I tried it. It was delicious. But of course they tried to give me stuffing again, Miss Brisco. They're listening to me, and I can't escape them now. And lastly, look, I just love that Devontae Adams got up and was like, "Hey, Devontae Adams here," and L'Jarius Sneed's like, "Yeah." And I'm L'Jarius Sneed, and this is what I do.
L'Jarius Sneed has reached that point. Refs are like, what? He's physical. We all know this about him. And he's just, because Sneed has always been this grabby. And he's getting penalized even more for it because they're asking him to do some really hard things. But it is really funny to me, like, what you can get away with once it's like, wow, he's just got a reputation for being physical. It's like, but I'd be like, this offensive lineman has a reputation for holding, so you can't call it. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, hey, keep calling it that way for Sneed. McDuffie's pretty grabby too. But I mean, it is funny to watch. When Adams was looking around, I was like sitting there like, that dude's got a point. It's like kind of one of those awkward moments where it's like,
no. L'Jarius Sneed says, let me run your route for you. Okay, let me run it. It's an incompletion, and I'm going off. Going off the field.
I'm going to run your route for you. What they've asked Sneed to do this year has been so much fun to watch.
It's man on a tightrope. It really is. It's man on a wire. Which is the great documentary that you should go see. Now giving out documentary takes. Man on a wire, and the artist is present. Oh. Does anybody know Marina Abramovich?
I'll give an opposite recommendation. Bye Bye Barry on Amazon.
Yes.
I watched it and it's great.
Is it as good as they say it is, Seth?
If you've already seen all of Barry Sanders' highlights a million times, which
I don't care. I'll look at them the same way I look at Luke Longley's.
You hear some background stuff, but they advertised it like you're finally gonna learn why Barry Sanders retired. And I mean, he
was tired of their bullshit?
No, he just wanted to. That's the big reveal. It's like, I was done. It's like, well, that doesn't.
You said we this is not the last dance. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, it was just. I mean, it did have some good behind it, but it's kind of like, wow, that place was a tire fire. It's like, well, yes, Go on. Like it was cool though. Like I was explaining to Jazz, this is how much the sport has changed over the years, and we've gone a
This is
we're
my
going
90s,
all over the place. But
this
like
is
Jazz,
my 90s take in my heart. Say it, Seth. This is
Jazz
why the
was
90s
Jazz
the
was
best.
watching this with me, and because she loves me, and she was just sitting there next to me, being really hot, watching the documentary, and she was just like. She's like, yeah, man, they're making a really big deal about him, like joining the team, like he's gonna say, like, but he's a running back, and I'm like, like you, girl, you've been paying attention. Never loved you more. And I just said, well, actually, this was back when.
Did you tell her his quarterback was Kramer? Okay.
Well, but what ended up happening, like, it was a reminder to me that in 1989, a running back's importance was like this with a quarterback.
Yes,
like if you had a great running back, it was as important as a great quarterback. And they could turn around an entire team. Barry Sanders did. He hoisted that team on his shoulders for years and then just decided he was done. And then they treated that like this big mystery. Well, I'll have his sons ask him questions. Really cool thing to watch. It was like, I was done.
He had over the hill Rodney Pete as his quarterback.
Guys, I don't. You guys sound surprised. This show, for a fact, knows there was a time when running backs are more important than quarterbacks. We've talked about those Cowboys teams a lot.
And Terrell Owens. Oh, not Terrell Owens. Terrell Davis.
Ding, 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 ding.
Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis got in the Hall of Fame on 4 seasons. Again,
also carrying a highly overrated quarterback.
Stan Humphries went to the Super Bowl.
John Elway went to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna just sit here and just.
So good. Kurt Warner went to the Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner, better than either of the other quarterbacks that we mentioned. I said
Correct.
it.
Yes, no, true, very true.
Love that take. Yeah, great take.
Yeah, that's like Kurt Warner is better than John Elway, even though I understand that John Elway had very high moments in leverage situations with receivers that nobody can remember outside of Sterling or outside of Sharp. So I get it, but yeah, man, Luke Longley, how about it?
So good we finally got some 98 Bulls back in here again. All right, listen, Seth's got a big stupid deal at the Chief of the North newsletter. I say it's a big stupid deal because it's stupid for him, but it's genius for you. You can subscribe to the newsletter there for $6 a year. And then after that first year, the price jumps up to $60. Oh,
never.
No, let me check my notes. Oh, the price never changes if you get it.
There is an off chance. I do want people to know this. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's an off chance this is the last year I do this. There's an off chance.
And also a chance that someone on this show tells you to raise the price, not on people who subscribed already, because I think you've got these people built an empire with you here. That's great.
Oh no, I'll never raise the price. People who sub now, no, they're getting
No, if you get in now, and then I'll continue to tell Seth to raise the price on other people in the future, but it's never going to be better of a deal than it is right now. So $6 a year forever. It's absolutely outrageous. So go check that out. Chief of the North Newsletter, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. And Nate, you can get us out of here. Maybe you got a little locker room vignette, a little Vegas tale, anything that you think can wrap up a weird games like this one appropriately.
I do have something for you, and I would recommend everybody to do it. But really quickly, The Athletic, also on Cyber Monday, if you so choose, you can subscribe today. Today, I think, is the last day I'm looking at our company communications, and yes, you can subscribe.
Slack. You can just say Slack. Go ahead and say the S word. Go ahead and say Slack.
The interwebs, the intranet. Yes, you can subscribe to The Athletic for 1 month, $1 per month. Geez, I can't promote anything correctly. $1 per month for the entire year for 12 months. So obviously, $12 a year. It is the lowest rate, I believe, between now and the draft. So if you would like to read not just my coverage, but obviously my very talented and esteemed colleagues. Again, if you want to read
Dane Brugler's draft guide is worth that right now. Always. Yes.
And by the way, kind of going to go look back at what he wrote about Rashid Rice and see where we are after, 2/3 of the season, which will be a fun experiment later on this week. And lastly, look, if you need to see how crazy David Tepper is, you need to read Joe Person, who's on The Athletic, because again, some league circles are already discussing that David Tepper wants an outside the box hire. It's just football, David. It's just football. It's not that hard. You don't have to be Elon Musk, baby. No. You ain't got to do that. Just hire just call Clark Hunt. Hire a good coach. I don't know. Let him coach a team. I don't know. Let him give him time to develop. Hey, if he wants to actually pick somebody, you should probably let him pick that player, especially if it's in the first round, especially if it's a quarterback, and not trade away next year's one when y'all gonna be even worse somehow. But again, if you want to read all that, I highly recommend it. Last thing is, in Las Vegas, of course they're gonna take your money. There are palaces here, guys. It is ginormous how the Venetian and the Bellagio and the Aria, I spent the Aria for the first time. Now,
I'm really, really sorry, but my wife is waiting for me in the parking lot, and she just texted.
She
I was not expecting to see so much skin on Josh.
She wasn't complaining, it didn't sound like.
I'm so sorry. Nate, you were describing the tropical, palatial, sun-filled city of Vegas, where people dress like Josh all the time.
The traffic gets a little... The traffic finally winds down around 1:30, 2 a.m. Just drive around the strip. And one of the best things was I got to drive around part of the strip that was converted for the F1 race. So I could always say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're still taking down the stands for the F1 race here in Vegas. And it's sort of complicating things on the strip. But it was fun. It was fun to just drive around. They didn't let me go as fast as the guys in F1. But it's probably one of my favorite memories of Las Vegas is that, I got to do some of the little turns, because they're letting regular traffic folk get to do it.
What did you try to get the speedometer up to though? Just for a point of reference.
I think you could get to like 65.
That feels like you could feel the wind in your hair right there. That feels good.
Yeah. Roll the windows down. Hope there's no police officers, and thankfully there weren't. I appreciate them as always.
Leaving me alone.
Leaving me alone, yes. Please. I am a good, upstanding citizen. Seth, tell Jazz that the reason it's important for Josh to have this time with his family in Florida is so that people can see a different side of him.
That's right.
Because I have to remind her that Eric Kramer was Barry Sanders' quarterback. Okay. And he got them to the playoffs. Okay. He single-handedly won a playoff game from the running back position. It's impossible to do. Not impossible, but very hard. Shout out to the Manatees.
Bob,
shout out to the
Manatee.
Manatee.